Every month, there are a load of brand new video games. And every month, GameRanks puts together a list of the stuff we noticed. A lot of the time, we think that means they're going to be good games, but sometimes it's because we saw something we can't unsee. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanks, the top 10 new games of April 2026. Starting off with number 10, it is Samson. This is a game I've actually gotten rather interested in over the last few months. It's kind of something that I didn't really understand when they first announced it, but it's become more apparent that it's kind of somewhere between GTA, Sifu, and Burnout. And the idea of mashing those things together is very intriguing to your old pal Falcon. So here's the rub. You're Samson, a guy who owes a very bad group of people a very large amount of money. It's a standard, you pay your debt or your family suffers because they kidnapped his sister to make sure he pays up. It's got the driving, but it does not have guns. This is a melee-focused combat game a la Sifu, and the combat apparently leans very heavy on physics. But that's not the only kind of violent nonsense you'll get into. There's also Burnout-style car chases because, yes, I don't have a reason. I'm just saying yes, because yes. Thank you. It sounds great on paper, everything here. There is a small bit of concern regarding previews saying it was kind of buggy, but also those were early previews, and the game is coming out after the development cycle, not midway through it, or at least hopefully that's the case. This one's not so much a open-ended, do whatever you want type game, and I actually think that's probably to its benefit. Samson is a massively intriguing game to me. I think there's a high likelihood it's very good, assuming they've got the bugs and polish worked out. We'll find out when it lands on PC, April 8th. Samson is dealing with a debt, and in terms of a segue into asking you to enable notifications, I'm struggling. I'm definitely in debt there, but I'm just gonna do it. The YouTube homepage has just become a mess of shorts, and frankly, a lot of people aren't seeing our videos who are subscribed. Thusly, the best way to see them is enabling notifications. If you do that, it's doing us a huge solid, and we hope it helps you see some stuff you want to see. Thanks a ton for enabling notifications. Let's get back to the video. At number 9, I am Jesus Christ. That's the name of the game. And I'm just going to say this, the game looks like a meme. Walks like a meme, talks like a meme. The name of the game is I Am Jesus Christ. There's resurrection gameplay that looks literally like Skyrim. There are many memes about the game, but although the game itself feels like it started as a meme or a joke pitch of some kind, this is a completely sincere project, a first-person retelling of the New Testament in which you perform miracles, help people, and experience biblical events. Played entirely straight-faced. Now this is a difficult tightrope to walk because this is apparently very much a game, a video game. You have objectives, systems, mechanics. There's walking on water, healing the sick, calming storms. These are abilities. And there is even resource management for your Holy Spirit, which is essentially the spell bar, right? It's your mana, your magic, your MP. This is a video game-ass video game. And you fight Satan at some point. Not like implied Satan, like a real mean-looking man, like Satan. There are screenshots. The trailer implies there's some degree of platforming. There are screenshots of riding a donkey, it appears. The screenshots also demonstrate that apparently the verses are cited as events happen. So you're able to, verify them or look them up in the Bible. There is a demo out that you can play that I'm like borderline afraid to play. I don't want to ridicule the game, but it seems to me like it's going to be impossible not to find really funny, while at the same time kind of looks like a competent game. It is not intended to be funny, and it is very, very seriously using the medium of the video game. I think probably the most interesting thing would be if it was a good game. I don't know. I don't want to pretend that like I can walk into this taking it completely seriously. I genuinely can't, but maybe it'll be a surprise. I mean, there's nothing saying this can't be a good game. And whatever it turns out to be, I'm sure that it's going to be entertaining. I Am Jesus Christ lands on PC April 2nd. And number 8 is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Dragon Pearl of Destruction, which sounds hilarious to say as a game directly after I Am Jesus Christ. But hey, this actually kind of looks like a good He-Man game, which is maybe weirder. Like, this more or less sounds like it would be some kind of quick cash in, a nostalgic IP, some game maybe somebody had been working on and thought, maybe what if we got this as a license? Announce it, ship it as quick as possible, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't actually look like that, though. This is an arcade beat-em-up from the developers of Terminator 2D No Fate, the Bitmap Bureau. And as you know, Terminator 2D No Fate is pretty well loved around these parts, if maybe not as long of a game as it should be. Still a very good game with some great pixel art, etc. And that carries over here. This is exactly what you would expect a big, chunky arcade beat-em-up to look like. You're talking big characters, lots of frames of animation, that whole grab the enemy, spin them around thing from the Ninja Turtles arcade games. Doesn't seem overcomplicated. I mean, probably the smartest possible version of making a He-Man and the Masters of the Universe game right now, amidst a basically completely revived genre. The title is so unnecessarily long, but at the same time feels completely correct. He-Man is kind of a silly thing. I mean, it's not necessarily tonally silly, but generally the best way to make He-Man stuff is to know what He-Man is. And calling the game He-Man and the Master of the Universe Dragon Pearl of Destruction, it says that you get what this is supposed to be, at least in my opinion. I think the direction taken here is about as smart as you possibly could. Now the gameplay just has to live up to it. So we'll find out if that's the case when this game lands April 28th on PC, the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and Nintendo Switch. And number 7, Modulus. Basically, this game looks like Factorio or Satisfactory, but the emphasis is more on building really tight. Like, the construction is almost puzzle-like. The intent is less about the sprawling industrial, almost open world quality of Factorio or Satisfactory, and more of a you gotta get this right type game. Like, if you build a mess and try to fix it later, it's not going to work in this game. Visually, it's got a clean, kind of almost minimalist sci-fi look, and I think that as a pitch, it's a great idea. Satisfactory and Factorio are kind of just like, make it, go nuts, you know? Where this is kind of like, the point is optimization, and I think that's a really interesting angle to take. We definitely don't have that game yet, so I'm rather excited to see what Modulus actually turns out to be. It's landing on PC April 2nd. And number 6 is Mouse P.I. for Hire, a game where you see about 5 seconds of footage and you could probably tell if this is an interesting game for you. For me, it is. It's a noir detective game that's actually a first-person shooter in black and white with 1930s rubber hose animation. 100% in for me. I don't really know to what extent you're solving cases. It is billed as a noir detective story, but the gameplay we're seeing is generally fast-paced and chaotic gunplay. Now, that is not a complaint. It looks like a lot of fun to me. Like, there's something kind of inherently funny about a 1930s cartoon mouse unloading a Tommy gun. And although this is actually not like a public domain usage of Mickey Mouse or anything like that, I think that that's kind of why these types of games have come about. People using Steamboat Willie Mickey, and then also projects like Cuphead have definitely brought that form of animation back, and this is such a wildly different usage of it. I'm quite excited to play it. Mouse P.I. for Hire is landing April 16th on PC, the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and Switch. And number 5 is Darwin's Paradox, an action-adventure platformer where you are an octopus and you're trying to escape a food factory, which you have been captured and, of course, taken to. This game, to me, reeks of Abe's Odyssey. Of course, there are more options for what you're attempting to do here. There's a stealth element, and, of course, octopi, they can change color like a chameleon, and that is incorporated here. Basically, I guess what I would say is it looks like Abe's Odyssey combined with much more movement and traversal options and a little bit more outward humor as opposed to implied humor. It looks really cool, honestly. I think that it looks like a good idea for a game, and I'll definitely play it when it lands on PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and Switch 2, April 2nd. Number 4 is Masters of Albion, which, yeah, we do have to talk about this game. Basically, this is a god game / city builder hybrid. And if you don't know, if you can't tell because of how tied to that genre our man is, this is a Peter Molyneux game. It is, I mean, to be fair, an interesting looking god game, but also Peter Molyneux has let us down before, let's say. So during the day, this is a town building, citizen influencing god game. But at night, you're directly controlling characters in combat who defend the town from threats. Now this is probably what makes the game sound most interesting, even slightly ambitious, even though I wouldn't call it like necessarily massively ambitious. But if there's one thing Molyneux is known for, it's ideas that sound good on paper. I kind of think that Masters of Albion is, well, let me put it this way. There's a possibility it is a brilliant return to form that salvages Peter Molyneux's reputation and shows that he's capable of making a good game, or it's the most predictable, we've seen this before situation imaginable. You know, I want it to be a good game because, again, on paper, these are all good ideas. It could be very cool, but I also don't hold my breath for Peter Molyneux. I very much manage my expectations, and if it turns out that the game is good after it releases and the people that play it review it well, I will certainly be happy to sing this game's praises. I want Peter Molyneux to make good games. Like, he's capable of making good games. I mean, Fable wasn't exactly what he promised it to be, but I actually love Fable. Those games are awesome. So, I mean, we'll see. Masters of Albion is coming out April 22nd to PC. And number 3 is Replaced, an extremely stylized pixel art cinematic platformer that in a lot of ways I think borrows pretty heavily from Blade Runner in a way that, I don't know, it kind of does a little bit of a spin. In Blade Runner, you're not supposed to know for sure if Deckard is a replicant, but here you know for sure Reach, the person you're playing as, is actually not a person. It's an AI trapped in a human body. So I guess it's now a person. It definitely doesn't look like a button masher or anything, but it does look like it has some pretty fluid melee combat. But this is, man, a cinematic platformer through and through, and it is gorgeous. Worth noting, this game's had a bit of a journey getting here. Like, it's been delayed quite a few times, and that has made people nervous. But everything that they've shown us is really polished, and I think this is going to be one of those times where that extra time in the oven definitely paid off. I am pretty confident that this is going to be a good game. Replaced is landing April 14th on PC and Xbox Series. And number 2 is Saros, Returnal's spiritual successor. Not a direct sequel, but definitely the next thing like that from Housemarque. Saros is set on a hostile planet, trapped in some kind of repeating cycle, a time loop, if you will. You've got the atmospheric storytelling, the roguelike structure, the third-person combat, the realistic-looking graphics that feel weirdly out of place with the, like, bullet hell type gameplay going on, but then after a while it gels perfectly. And this looks like the evolution of Returnal. Like, I don't know what else to say. Combat looks a little faster, the world looks a little bit bigger, more surreal, that type of stuff. And it looks like they're going to be emphasizing narrative and character a little bit more this time around. But it's the same high-end sci-fi eeriness that you might expect from Housemarque, and will very likely repeatedly humble you. I don't know if the game's going to definitely be harder than Returnal. I don't know exactly what the evolution means at this point, but it is definitely an evolution of Returnal. And to me, that's good news. I love Returnal. Saros is coming April 30th to the PS5. And finally, at number 1, it's Pragmata, a game that feels as though it has been haunting the gaming world for a long time now. It's not Mega Man. We know that. They've said that repeatedly at this point. It looks super different and weird and confusing, and if it does turn out to be Mega Man still, I'm still not going to be surprised. But like, they've said it's not. They've said it's not. Just wanted to get that out there, though. Basically, you're kind of a Isaac Clarke-y looking dude. At least that's kind of what your suit of armor-ish thing is like. And then there's a small girl who may or may not be human, and it seems like you're navigating a reality-bending situation of some kind. It's vague, as they have explained it. I think that has been entirely intentional on Capcom's part. This is not a straightforward-looking game. It does look like an action game. It's got, like, the signature Capcom polish as well. Everything's looking really good, but they've basically been toying with us with this game for years at this point. We still don't know exactly what it is, and there is a certain degree of hype that I think probably couldn't be there if we did. My hope is that this is just a door-busting, awesome game. I'm excited for it. I do want to play it. Pragmata is coming April 17th to PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and Switch 2. I do have some quick bonus games for you. Firstly, Road to Vostok. I'm not sure if I'm saying that completely correctly, but it's a pretty realistic looking survival FPS with harsh resource management, single player escape from Tarkov looking game. Honestly, something that looks like something I would definitely be in on. Next, Starfield is coming to PS5. The poster child for Xbox exclusivity is landing on the PS5. You know, because why in the hell wouldn't it? If they'd have just launched this on the PS5, I think they would have done a lot better with it. But also, it's Starfield. I couldn't care less, honestly. I have a feeling there are going to be more people talking about it, though, so worth a mention. That's landing April 7th. Next is The Occultist, a first-person horror game where you're investigating your father's disappearance on a creepy island. There's stealth, puzzle solving, and psychological horror. That's landing on April 8th. It's PC, PS5, Xbox Series. Looks interesting. Next is Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred, a major expansion with new content, more builds. Basically an inevitability. Of course, they're going to release expansions for Diablo 4. That's landing on April 28th for PC, PS5, Xbox Series, as well as last generation stuff. Next is Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream. Your Miis basically have lives. They form relationships. It's kind of a life sim, but with a lot more delightful nonsense. I don't know if you remember the original. It's a weird game, but also it's cool. This one's landing on April 16th for Switch. Finally, Cthulhu, The Cosmic Abyss. I mean, it's the name's on the tin, right? It's Lovecraftian horror, right? Cosmic terror. The real enemy isn't monsters, it's your own understanding of reality type stuff. Much more normal fare than playing as Jesus. Cthulhu, The Cosmic Abyss is coming April 16th to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. That is all I've got for you today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. Join the 1% Club. Get the Falcon Show exclusively on Saturdays. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time right here on GameRanks.